Before China closed its borders and decided to go into the solitude, China had long been a great empire with extensive trading routes and such high demands of goods such as spices, porcelain, ceramics, and silk. For such a great empire to thrive, it must be ruled by great emperors, capable of an enormous territory. Their influences spread to more than a continent. One of them was an ancient Chinese emperor, Zetian, the only female emperor of Chinese history.
Born in February 624, Zetian's birthplace remains unknown. Many say it ought to be Saint Zi. Others claim that she was from Bingzhou. Nonetheless, she was born into a rich family and grew to be well educated, which wasn't common for a woman to be during the Tang Dynasty. Interested in reading, she had extensive knowledge in diplomacy, politics, and other governmental affairs.
At the age of 14, she was summoned to a place by Tang Taizong. It was told that her last word to her weeping mothers were, "How do you know that it is not my fortune to meet the Son of Heaven?" Thus revealing her great ambition from when she was only at this age. However, as a consort, she wasn't notably loved the emperor, although there were some impression made.
Tang Taizong died in 649. As a rule at the time, consorts who did not bear a child for the Bacid Empire like Zetian would have to live in a temple and serve as a Buddhist monk for the rest of their life.
As Tang Taizong passed away, Prince Lizi became the next emperor of the Tang Dynasty, taking the name Emperor Gaozong.
One day, he paid a visit to a temple where Wu Jijin served, who he had had an affair with since his father was still alive. Falling deeper in love with Wu Jijin for her beauty and intelligence, Emperor Gaozong brought her back to be one of his concubines.
In 654, Zetian gave birth to her daughter with Emperor Gaozong, Princess Shi of Anding, who died prematurely after one empress visited. There appeared to be signs of strangulation. In her own account, Zetian once admitted that she was the one who killed her first daughter by squeezing her nose into the princess who was suffocating and died.
Taking advantage of her intimacy with the emperor, Zetian falsely accused other people like Empress Wang and her relative.
Thus, Emperor Tang Kaozong later accused Wang Empress of killing the child out of jealousy. Seeing there, the Wang Empress hated and always sought revenge for the nobles,
which then made Zetian the new empress. When Emperor Gaozong was about to have Empress Wang released, Zetian had people assassinate her in order to secure power for herself. Later in life, she ordered them to cut off their limbs, then soak their bodies in large wine barrels. The court ladies knew the story was also cut by Zetian in order to divulge the heavenly secret that day. However, having done this, Zetian was haunted by her cold-blooded actions every night for the rest of her life.
From 668, as Emperor Gaozong was seen, Wu Jijin took up charge of making ruling instead of the emperor. With the knowledge she had long acquired, her ruling was justified and thus was the true rulers behind the puppet king for the next 23 years.
During this time, Zetian had a lot of blood on her hands. There were people getting executed or assaulted, forced to suicide, framed murders, all of whom were against Zetian of having too much power, who was getting in her way and who displeased her. In 655, the current crown prince Li Zong, the adopted son of the previous Empress Wang, were demoted down to only the Prince of Liang, leaving the title of crown prince to Li Hong, son of Zetian. However, when he saw that his mom had been in action as an emperor due to the poor health condition of Emperor Gaozong, he expressed opposing attitudes towards Empress Wu.
One day, when he was in a party with other nobles, he died, apparently from being poisonous. Although there was no evidence, many people grew suspicion on Empress Wu. In 660, Li Zong, Gaozong's firstborn son, was also targeted. Li Zong had feared that he would be next and had sought out advice from fortune tellers. Wu had him exiled and placed under house arrest.
Li Jian, the second son of Wu Zetian, inherited the title to crown prince. His relationship with his mother worsened as he was so deeply concerned, as many people said he was actually the son of Wu Zetian's sister. When a sorcerer told him that he was not qualified enough to be the next emperor. In 1608, Li Jian was accused of unsuccessful assassination toward the sorcerer and treason, announced by Wu Zetian herself. Li Jian was deposed and exiled, passing the title down to his brother Li Xian.
When Emperor Gaozong died of illness, Wu Zetian became the next emperor of the Tang dynasty. She proved herself to be a good ruler of the China Empire.
Wu Zetian had amazing political diplomacy. Thus, there were pictures of ambassadors from Korea, Mongolia, Rome, Syria, Xinjiang, Greece found.
During the Tang dynasty, silk was considered a very rare thing. It was like gold. The most natural was to conduct silk road to start from drying and expanding to neighboring countries. Using silk and trading with other countries, she also built an army system to protect goods and carries in Central Asia. Silk Road also affected many countries. They started to join and trade things for what country they have. The Longmen Grotto's caves are a monument to the whole work of Wu Zetian, including many small caves and the largest one with image of the Buddhas, the largest Buddha cave by Wu Zetian face. When Buddhists were thriving in China, Wu Zetian wanted people to see her at a Buddha, which was a clever way to control the people.
One of her great achievements was raising the value of women during her reign of China. Many archaeological artifacts from this time show evidence from this significant change in Chinese culture. There were statues of girls riding horses or girls wearing men's costumes, showing that women can do what men did during the Tang period. She also encouraged women to come and took position in the court, which before were always reserved for men. Her cruel acts were increasingly exposed over time. She began to feel guilty and write letters of apology and thanks to her children and to the people who helped her on a mountain. She ascended to the throne in 690.
At the end of her life, she went to Songyuan Temple, probably because she wanted to run away from the difficult life in court that she was no longer ambitious to control. In 705, Wu Zetian formally died and she was buried deep in the mountain of a tomb of the Tang dynasty. She was buried near her husband, Cao Tong, whose grave is very majestic with stone statues in order to protect her. Zetian is depicted with 9 fine giant head without a sword, which is left for the next generation to write for her.
She was the only emperor and the one who left the most impression in the Chinese history. She took steps to the throne step by step, but she led China well and brought great feats.